Okay, I never do this, and I kick myself when I come out of a session and I don't share something that was super profound. And I'm going to try to do it justice here, but so my client said something that spirit kind of red flagged, if that makes sense, that lacked like compassion for self, like very like hard on herself. Because she's really invested in healing and all these things. So she came right into session and said something, and then there was this tinge of loneliness that she has had since our sessions started, and she kind of doesn't like that, doesn't like feeling that she has loneliness, and so there's judgment around it. But so what came was when they said when we mean loneliness, it's more of it's a separation from self. It's not as much, of course, we have loneliness if we're physically alone, or sometimes we're lonely when we're in a room full of people. But in this case, they were saying, because we are such high vibrating beings, light beings, and we're in here having this human being experience, when we say things that lack compassion for ourselves in this human experience because it's hard, it separates us from self and separates us from our higher self. So that's where the loneliness actually comes in. And gosh, I can't remember exactly what the words were because it was so simple and so profound. That it's more our soul's separation from itself, from our highest level self. And when that happens and we go way into our human being experience where we can so harshly judge ourselves and because everything seems so real, like our pain is real, but like the things that we so harshly judge ourselves about, they really feel real, and we have trouble forgiving ourselves. And then especially if we're seekers and we're trying to heal, or we've done a ton of work, we go into this judgment, and it pulls us away from self. And then we miss what we're missing the most is our connection to our highest level consciousness, and we mistake that for it being more of a human loneliness. Does that make sense? I don't know. I hope so. So anyway, so ultimately, the advice that they gave her, or the information that they gave her, was when you hear your human being self say things that lack compassion for yourself. I mean, we could go into other people, but lack compassion for yourself first and foremost. You try to get into the habit of, or, being like red flagging it like Spirit did, and then just stopping and saying, that wasn't very kind, and bring yourself back in, bring yourself close, pull yourself back in and just say, all of that is an illusion anyway. And I know that I am a much higher vibrating being than that, and that I want to stay connected to my highest, my light being, my light body and my high vibration, because all of this and this being human stuff, we can kind of take and like dismiss, and I can say that because for myself, like I've felt kind of weird or a little bit off or whatever in the last day or two, and I realize, oh my God, this message today is kind of for me too, because because I can get, I can hear myself say things, or there's a frustration with myself for having human, emotion or thoughts or things that aren't, kind or judgmental towards myself. And it is true then what Spirit said today. I was like, yeah, that is totally true, because when that happens, I get pulled out of my, I can't get pulled out of my faith, but I get pulled away from the knowing that that I am courageous for being here, as we all are, and that so much of this is absolute illusion, and kind of like a video game or something. Anyway, so to quell that loneliness for this last client, again, they said, flag that, because it's not the truth, and that as long as we're in a body here on the planet, there's always going to be healing to do and work to do, and we ebb and flow with it, and that sometimes when it's really up like that for us and we're really troubled, or we're really being pulled into our human being brain, that is the time to just stand still and have the most compassion for yourself that you can muster, and then watch it just pass. Be like, because that's not who you are. I hope that made sense, but kind of rambled, but I absolutely had to